And guys, this Homestead tomato right here been going all year long. And look at the tomatoes that was coming on. It's 32 degrees this morning. So let's go check the garden out. 32 degrees this morning, guys. The first thing I check's the water hose. See if I can get y'all around here. It's froze solid as a rock. So with that being said, I should have picked my last ripe tomatoes. That was a froze tomato this morning. But I should have picked all my tomatoes yesterday evening. But I forgot that it was supposed to freeze last night. So you can see right here, November the 1st, this is our first, some's gonna call it a frost, but when I see a water hose froze like that, and the windshield on my truck's iced over froze, that's a freeze. So today will be the last of the tomatoes. This one little freeze right here and they'll go down. Same thing with the Honey Delight over here. Had several tomatoes on it I should have got yesterday. It was some pretty tomatoes. Been going since the spring right up till November the 1st. All year long. Now as loaded down as this banana pepper here is, and by the way guys, this banana pepper I got from Burpee. The seeds came from Burpee, I mean. This ain't supposed to be no hot banana pepper, but these banana peppers right here this year got heat in them. Just almost too hot for me to enjoy to even eat them on a sandwich or anything. But look how loaded they still are. And I actually come out here yesterday and got the long ones off. And I'm like, well, that's more than I got anything to do with, so I just left these on here. But this will be it for the tomatoes and the peppers and the eggplants. Now the eggplants I cut all them off yesterday. So there ain't no eggplants left. I think I see 2 or 3 down here on this other end that was small. This one here had a bunch of little fairy tales coming on it. And the peppers, my goodness. I don't know if y'all can see how many peppers is in there. But the pepper plants has been going wild. Y'all see how many red ones is up in here? And I know some of you saying why you didn't harvest all that. Well guys, I harvested the bucket full yesterday. A combination of everything, but I forgot to come back and get my tomatoes, and I'd rather have them than the peppers. But there, one last look, because this will be all gone after today. So what we'll have from then is our lettuce bed there. And this little lettuce bed, I don't know what the deal is, but it ain't been doing good this fall. It's poorly looking. But I got more over here at some other beds. There's our little Catarina cabbage. And then we got our bed of cauliflower going right there. It's the amazing cauliflower. And this here is broccoli, and then some other, I can't remember which one it was, broccolinis. And it's making broccoli heads the way they supposed to make them. This here don't even make a head in the center. Now this one right over here was one of the Asperbrock broccolis, and I can already tell y'all, even though they ain't even made, I like the Asperbrock better than this other broccolini I was trying. You can see the wind kind of got it yesterday when the cold front was coming in. The wind was hard all day. But just the way them grow, I'll stick with the Asperbrock for the next spring. There's my bed of Asian greens. Now I ain't sure how they gonna bear the weather. That'll be something I have to watch. But I just done me up a stir fry of that a couple days ago. And over here in this bed, this is where we got two different kinds of cauliflower. One's a early white and one's a 33-day variety. So they ought to start making little heads pretty soon. I ain't seeing no little head yet. But guys, we went from yesterday it wasn't freezing. I think we got up, it was 40 degrees. The day before that it was like 91. So that's the weather we've been having. We went from July weather to fire building weather, straight. That there where I just got some collard greens stuck in there. And as y'all can see, my collard greens out here, some of them big. Some of them ain't doing good, but let me show you why they ain't doing good. The chickens keep getting in here. And rabbits is starting to come in here and eating up my collard greens. So we're gonna have to do something with the chickens. We got some stray chickens that come through. This here was some broccoli. Everything looks horrible this morning. That wind whooped it down yesterday. But I did plant some extra collards right here in this little bed. They'll get stood back up here in a couple days after this wind. Now what I did cover yesterday before this was my little bunch of onions and my DP sweet onions and my Vidalia type onions out there, because they were so small, because I seeded them straight in the bed. I did cover them. There's my tender greens. I'm finna cut them down and feed to the rabbits. Y'all can see they got lots of bug damage on them, because now I got a big old patch of mustard greens right out yonder. That's another little pot. I just had some collards left over and threw them all in there together. As many salads as I've been eating, y'all can see how tall that lettuce got. That's the romaine lettuce. You just pull the leaves off and eat. And butterhead lettuce there on the left. We got our beets coming on good. Hey, beautiful. And I planted elephant garlic in here a couple of weeks ago. And one's already sprouting up. That one there was real early. Red Russian kale. And our celery. And here's my other bed of lettuce. Now this lettuce ain't been planted that long. See how good it's coming? Guys, the reason that motion light's in there, because my neighbor's cats had done started coming over here and wanting to use my raised beds as their poop box. So I put that little motion activated light, and it's got a little siren. When it's dark, the little siren motion activate come on. And since I put that in there, the cat ain't been back in my bed yet. The prism kale, y'all can see it's got all the old leaves where I kept that going all summer. All new leaves now. Pretty much the same thing with this red Russian kale over here. It still got a lot of bug damaged ones I gotta pull off and feed to the chickens. And then my Swiss chard there. That turned out beautiful after we started getting some cooler nights. Got all the bug damaged leaves from the summer off. A little bed of spinach I planted. It's kind of like that first bed of lettuce over there. It's struggling. As long as that spinach area been planted, it ought to be about 6 inches tall. And this is my tire bed with carrots. And to me, they ought to be a lot taller than that. So as always, my stuff's off to a slow start. And there's one of the ducks that's been eating my collard greens. I keep leaving the gates open and I go in there. So it's actually my fault that the ducks is getting in there. But let's go in this greenhouse and warm them up, because my fingers is cold already. Oh boy. Yeah. A lot warmer in here with that little diesel heater running. So it was 32 degrees this morning. And in the greenhouse right here, it's 52 degrees. And I just got the little diesel heater here running on the lowest settings it'll get. Now I don't know if some of you seen the video of where I getting the extra free heat out of this heater, but it comes up, and this is the exhaust pipe, and it goes all the way to that end. It comes back down and goes down and out. Because your exhaust puts off just as much heat as the heat coming out of this. So it goes in the pipe and the pipe gets warm. Now I had these sitting up here to put water in them so I could see if that was going to put off too much heat, but I can tell you right now, I ain't got to worry about it getting too hot, because that's just running on low. And running on low, I can hold on to this pipe with my hand. Now when you put that thing up on high, that back pipe gets so hot back there you can't hold on to it. And that's where I was going to do my testing to see how much heat it would put in the bottom of these pans, and maybe be like a heat mat to start seeds. Well, only way that would help me as a heat mat, if it's staying below 30, in the 20s, and I'm running that thing on high. So it ain't gonna serve as a heat mat, which is alright, but it is still giving me free heat. So what I got in the greenhouse here is my fig trees, because I'm going to wait till the spring to plant them. I didn't want to do them this fall. I'm trying something new here with a pepper plant, just an experiment for me. I took one of my pepper plants that we were just looking at there in the garden a couple of days ago, and I trimmed it down, and I dug up as much roots of it I could, and I planted it in a pot. And it's only been out here 3 days, but I'm just curious to see if I can overwinter a pepper plant and then plant this back out in the spring when it starts warming up. The other two things I got going in here is my tomatoes. And guys, look how tall that tomatoes done got. I mean, it's sitting on the floor. And it's loaded down with blooms. So we're gonna see if we can get us some greenhouse tomatoes this winter. And then I got another shorter tomato. One's a Bendita and one's a Florida 91, which neither one of them is a good tomato to be using in the greenhouse because they're a variety of tomato that does good in high heat. But I got them seeds and I just playing around, put them out, which actually I done this when I planted them. It was high heat. It was July when I started the seeds. So it's done went through the high heat, now it's gonna go through the cold. But that's just I've never tried to grow a tomato in the greenhouse through the winter. So I got me 2 tomatoes and then my other fig tree back there. Down here in this little pan right here, I've got 3 cucumber seeds I planted, and they coming up about 3 inches tall. That's gonna be an experiment for me. Always, anything I ain't never done before, guys, I call it an experiment. I ain't never tried to raise no cucumbers in the greenhouse in the winter. Also, I planted some celery seeds in here. Just cause I had some extra celery seeds that was old, but they ain't coming up yet. Planted some cauliflower seeds in here. They all coming up about 3 inches tall there. And then in that one back there, some Catarina cabbage. Which of course, if they all start doing and keep going, I'm gonna have to thin them out because it's way too many for a little pot. So I just wanted to do something because I knew the freeze was finna come early, which it did. We made it till November the 1st, at least last year it was October the 15th when it come that freeze and killed my tomatoes and peppers and all of that outside. And it kept freezing last year. It kept hurting. Even the cold weather stuff struggled. I mean, my onions, that's why I covered them onions this time right off the bat, because my onions made a comeback last year and done decent, but that freeze kept hitting. Also, I got some DP sweet onions here. I started in the tree in here with the intentions of planting these out in the bed, and I still am later, but out in the bed plenty of seeds come up, so I ain't gonna need all of these just to fill in the blank spots in my bed. And that's what's all in the greenhouse. But back to this pipe on my heater here. This makes the second night I've done the testing and seen right away that it ain't gonna work as a heat mat like I was thinking, unless the heater's on high. And I ain't never run this heater on wide open all night long. So the good thing about it, even though it ain't gonna work as a heat mat, I am getting the heat off of this pipe, which is free heat. And the second thing, now I know it ain't gonna get too warm that I can set other plants up on here. That was my other concern, is after I had seeds started when I had seeds started in February, and I start them in the house, but then I bring them out here. If I had to run the heater, was that gonna get too hot on them? Well, no. I can tell you right now that ain't. It's actually gonna be all right. It just ain't gonna work as a heat mat. Now, if you live somewhere where it's like in the 20s and you got a heater like this and you run it wide open all night, yes, then that would put off enough heat you could adjust it up there close to your plants and use it at the same principles as a heat mat. So I'm finna fill my little diesel heater back up here with fuel. We're gonna go out and look at one more thing in the garden. Guys, that used about a little over a half a gallon in 12 hours. Well, actually, it's been about 14 hours. And the reason I know how much fuel I use, because I got my fuel can sitting here, and it's got marks on it to where I know how much I just put out of there to top it back off. And that's the reason I wanted to do this exhaust pipe like I did. That way I can run this on low and use less fuel and still keep the greenhouse the same temperature. Before I done this last year, on nights like last night, I'd had to have this turned up about midways. Somewhere about the mid setting in order to keep it the same temperature in here. So that's going to help pay for itself by saving, cutting the fuel in half to get the same heat for my greenhouse. The chickens is hollering. I usually feed them first when I come out this morning, and I started giving y'all an update on the garden and stuff, and they out there wanting their feed. Now guys, I don't know if some of you remember back in the summer when this okra, it done got so hot it didn't have a leaf on it, and I come through here and I topped it off. I mean, I cut them, just topped them, every one of them. This okra come back to life and started growing, and you can see. My wife said she harvested this day before yesterday, but she must have forgot this last bush right here, because here's 3 still on here. But the temperature, that'll probably be it. It'll probably be dead tomorrow. If it won't, it'll be because it's supposed to freeze again tonight. So in the summer, if you top your okra back down, then it'll start growing again, and then we've been getting okra into September through October, right up till freeze here. There you go, ducks. You want a piece of okra? Now, just for kicks and giggles this year, I started these tomato seeds, and I knew it was going to do this. The reason I ain't never going to try to plant fall tomatoes outside. The only way I'm going to get tomatoes is to keep me a plant going, just like them 2 over yonder all summer. Even though they get rough looking, you keep them going. You see I got tomatoes, and I've eaten tomatoes all year long. Now, I ain't talking about eat tomatoes every day, but what I'm saying, get enough tomatoes to have a tomato all year. But you see, when you start a plant, this plant was planted out here in July. See them little tomatoes on it? It's no way where I live right here, and the way our temperature goes from triple digits to our freeze coming in October and the 1st of November like it does, that you will ever be able to make no fall tomatoes. I mean, I guess if you planted a tomato in June, but I ain't never seen a point of planting a tomato in June. I still got tomatoes going from a spring in June, so it just makes more sense to me to keep an indeterminate type tomato going through the summer than it does to even try this. But I did it, but that's it. They all got little tomatoes on them like that and was blooming up good. But that's all over but the crying, ain't it? You see, every one of them's got tomatoes on them. This is the same tomatoes that's in the greenhouse. One of them's a Bendita and one of them's a Florida 91. But I am gonna grow the Florida 91 next spring. That was some new variety I got that I wanted to kind of do a seed test on it. And we'll see what's gonna happen with them next year. There is my mustard green patch. Got a couple wild volunteer tomato plants coming up in it. And then on this end, the rutabagas was getting a slow start, but they starting to come on. Starting to see some bottoms down there. You see them purple bottoms. But that's Papaw's garden update. And guys, this right here is my breast roosters. I'm feeding them chopped corn soaked in milk for the last few weeks because they finna go to freezer camp. So it ain't gonna be long, y'all will be seeing me process them chickens right there, them roosters, and trying out my new chicken plucker that I've been working on the last couple of days. I'm building me a homemade chicken plucker, and that's the first candidate that's gonna get to try it out. Plus, that's gonna be the first breast chicken meat I've eaten. It's supposed to be the world's best tasting chicken, they say. And that's why I'm trying to finish it off. They say finish it off with some kind of grain soaked in milk. Well, I got corn soaked in milk, but it's not whole milk because I ain't spending the money for whole milk to feed a chicken. It don't make sense to me. It costs too much. But what I am using is powdered milk, just because, well, let's just say it's a lot of that powdered milk in our neighborhoods that gets given to me. So I'm using powdered milk that to soak the corn in, and I feed these twice a day. Plus they got grower feed in that bucket they can eat anytime they want. Now for any of you that watches my chicken videos, which I ain't made in a while, I've still been weighing them, still tracking it, and I'm gonna do me a video one of these days. That's my hens that come from Miss Royal that I hatched myself. But that rooster right there that I got in there with him is one of my last roosters that come from Breese Farms. He was the chosen winner that got to stay. And the reason he got to stay because he's got the most white in his earlobes than my other ones did. And old Thunder over there, see, he's over there with the laying hens. I just kept him because he was one of the first breast roosters I kept. But I've been weighing all them, keeping track of them, my weights and stuff. And that's what I'm gonna start out with, that rooster breeding them hens. Just hatch me some more. Now over here, my other little pen. Now over here in this pen is one of the roosters that I kept, that I hatched out from Miss Royal's eggs. Come on down here so they can see y'all. And then the two hens from Breese Farm, the oldest one's up in there laying egg. That one oldest one hen is the one the first chicken's breast I got. And it's the same age as old Thunder down there. She's laying eggs. They ain't gonna come down here. But that's the rooster that I'm saving. The only flaw that I found in him I didn't like is he got his wing there, and you see it jacked out. So I'm hoping that ain't something that breeds forward. So I'm doing a line cross. I'll let him breed with them 2 hens from Breese Farm to hatch eggs on. And I had another rooster that I actually liked the looks of him better than this one, and he weighed more, but he was still had that yellow, like Thunder, and that big hen would come out of that nesting box. Y'all would see she got that yellow tint. I'm wanting to breed forward, and I want to try to get them more white and get that yellowness bred out of their color. But that's just something that'll happen. That's a long-term deal. So this is what I'm starting with right here. So now we're going to feed the quail and the rabbits. And I gotta go in that house and get by that heater and get me some coffee. So this is cold on my fingers this morning. What are you doing there, Loretta? Huh? What is you? I think the rabbits is the only one that's enjoying the cold weather. The rest of us animals on this homestead don't like it this cold. Alright guys, I got the animals all fed up. And I've been having issues trying to get these rabbits to breed and take. I don't know if the high heat of the summer. I know the bucks can go sterile in high heat. So the first time around, didn't nothing happen. The second time around, I actually ain't got one of them to even do his deed with this one yet. But old Gwen should be pregnant, I hope this time. But Loretta, I can put her in there to breed and she'll start making some kind of little noise, squealing noise, and them bucks won't even attempt to breed her. So I don't know what's going on. And she's a young, about 8 months old. She needs to be bred. She's actually my prettiest rabbit right now. And guys, this Homestead tomato right here been going all year long. Look at the tomatoes that was coming on. They just didn't have time enough to get up here and turn. It's got several tomatoes like this size around it. But that's supposed to be a determinate tomato, they call it. But that tomato right there has been here since I planted that out in whatever, the end of March or April. And it struggled when it got up in them triple-digit temperatures, but where it is down here, it was in the shade a lot. So, the old Homestead hung in there to the freeze. Guys, that's it for the garden today. I got to go in here and get warmed up. Get this video posted up there so y'all can see the little update here. Cause I just wanted one last look at what I had left out here, because after tonight it's supposed to freeze again. So Papaw will be taking the tomatoes and pepper plants and doing a little cleanup. But I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great day. God bless. See y'all next time.